As expected, heads are already rolling then in Catalonia as we welcome Shaka, Hislop to the conversation. Robbo and Julien still with us. Jules, Setien is out then as coach of Barcelona. I want to talk about his possible replacement a little bit later on, but I want to first focus on the big story that seems to be snowballing. Reports saying that Lionel Messi wants to leave.
Yes, that's right. It came out tonight from different places as well, different sources, I would guess. And also, I'm not surprised that Messi would probably want this out because he's clearly very unhappy. I mean, he's been unhappy most of the season, let's be honest. And in big disagreement with the board at the club and people at the top. I think it's pretty clear to me that I don't think Messi will leave if the board leaves as well. If the board stays and Bartomeu decides to stay, even if Abidal, Grau, Planas, whoever he wants gets sacked, I think for Messi it's Bartomeu out or I'm out. And I think Barcelona as a football club cannot afford to lose Messi right now anyway. So I think Bartomeu will probably go, whether he goes and then elections happen, whether he decides to move the election forward from next summer onto next month, for example. But I think the message that Messi has sent is, I will leave unless Bartomeu leaves as well.
Right, here's the thing, Jules. Bartomeu doesn't play. He's not on the pitch. That isn't the problem for Barcelona in the short term, is it? Lionel Messi is 33 years of age. If I want to win something, surely I've got to leave Catalonia. Sorry, if I want to win the Champions League, I've got to get out of Barcelona.
Of course, and I think that's a fair point. Let's not forget as well that Barcelona is Messi's life. And of course, there will be clubs that are ready for him, ready to pay anything they want, from Inter Milan to Manchester City, probably to PSG, to, I don't know, pretty much anyone who has the money somewhere or try to get the money to sign him. However, let's not forget, one, how loyal he is. Two, that he also knows from a long time that Bartomeu is incompetent, that Abidal is incompetent, that Grau is incompetent, that most of that board is incompetent anyway. And I think he certainly feels that if they're there, if they're still there, you cannot move forward. It's impossible. There's nothing that can be done. However, if you get new people in charge, Victor Font, for example, who is another of the candidates for the next election whenever they are, who can bring Xavi with him, for example, and then put a different structure into this club, different people in key positions that will enable the club to make good signing, clever signing, not the crazy stuff that we've been in the last 4 years, for example, that we've seen for the last 4 years, then maybe Messi is on board of that. But certainly he's not on board with anything that's been happening this season with the current boards.
Robert, you've said many times if it wasn't for your injury, you would have eclipsed Lionel Messi as the GOAT. If you were in his shoes right now, what would you do?
I think I would go somewhere else for the last couple of 3 years, and go and prove that I'm still going to be the world's best player. I can go to a club that can try and win things, give myself a new lease of life, because he looks stale. He's still played well, but he looks stale. He looks unhappy at times when he's playing. And I think it would do him good just to go and play somewhere else, somewhere where he's got a chance of winning things, somewhere where he's going to be happy. They're going to let him play how he wants to play and go from there. That's what I would do if I was him.
Stupid question. Could you just parachute him into any team and he would still perform on the level that we'd expect him to, Robbo?
He would perform at the level that would be expected of him. Whether the team can perform, because you have to build your system and your game plan around one player. We've seen that at Juventus. Ronaldo has made Juventus. He's done well at Juventus, but it hasn't made them a better team. And that may be the case if Messi went to Manchester City or he went to Inter Milan. Then he would still play well and he'd score goals and he'd look outstanding. But other players would have to do jobs to fit in to do the things he can't do.
Shaka, we know what you do. You just follow the money, wouldn't you?
I don't think it's that simple, especially for Lionel Messi, given the money he's on. Listen, we've seen a similar knee-jerk reaction from Lionel Messi post disappointments with Argentina, where he said he retired from international football and then came out of retirement. I'm just wondering if it's a similar sentiment being expressed now. Clearly disappointed with the way the club is being run, and is making that threat that unless things change, he's going to walk away. I don't interpret what's come out over recent hours as anything more than that similar level of threat. And I think the club responds and Lionel Messi stays.
Let's do some maths, Jules. 33 years of age, 1 year left on his contract. What sort of price would we be looking at if a club was to come in and take him?
It's really hard to say. I mean, you would think that Barcelona cannot be too greedy. I mean, it's Lionel Messi, but for everything that he's given to the club, and he hasn't got much back in return, especially in the last 5 years, really. You would think that if he wanted to go and Barcelona were like, okay, we cannot, you are Messi, you are why we are this club right now. We can let you go. I don't think they would ask for too much money. Certainly not would go and ask for 100 million euros, although they would need that money. But I think if Leo Messi wanted to leave Barcelona this summer and you're Barcelona, you owe it to him to make it simple for him to be able to leave and not ask crazy money.
As I mentioned at the top, Setien then sacked, Jules. A whole host of managers have been linked to the job. Ronald Koeman, throughout this whole time, we know that he turned it down, didn't he, after Valverde was sacked. And during that time, he said, no, I'm very much committed to my role with the Dutch side. However, that rhetoric has kind of changed over the weekend in the sense that he didn't quite say that. He didn't really make any comment.
Yes, you're right. It seems that position has evolved a little bit. And I think Ronald Koeman, one of his dreams is to coach Barcelona one day, where he was obviously a very important player in the 90s. And I think that he would now consider, without a doubt, being able to do both the national team, the Dutch national team, and to be there every day at Barcelona. I think maybe he sees it and he knows that if he doesn't take it now, this opportunity might not come back another time later. He will be very much Bartomeu's choice, more than any other president that could come after, maybe. So I think maybe that has changed. He was in Barcelona this weekend. We saw him in different places along the coast, and that might be a coincidence. It might not be a coincidence, but I think that right now, ahead of Xavi and ahead of Pochettino, for example, who are the other two names mentioned, I think he's clearly at the top of the list, and I wouldn't be surprised if Bartomeu decided to stay. And again, with everything that we spoke before about Messi and etc., that's not a given, but if he did, and I think maybe Koeman could be the one to replace Setien and be there for next season.
If I was a Barca fan, this wouldn't excite me, Robbo.
Well, he's done a very good job with the Dutch. The Dutch were going nowhere. They failed to qualify for a couple of tournaments. He then took them over and did a really good job getting them back to where they should be, really, the Dutch. He obviously had a poor time at Everton. It's always going to be difficult to take, for Koeman to take over what is a poor side at the moment. And there's lots of problems behind the scenes. But you very rarely get a chance to take over a team when they're doing well. So he's going to have to go in and make sure they become much better very quickly. Otherwise, it's going to fail. But it wouldn't be an exciting choice, I don't think, for the fans.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.